Thank you, Andrea. Isn't Andrea Levere terrific? Let's give her a hand. I asked her before this plenary session, how do you do it? Always on, always there, always a fighter. She's remarkable. It's truly remarkable to reflect that the assets movement in a formal form is really less than 20 years old. So congratulations to CFED and all of its partners for really creating this big tent for learning and innovation. Indeed, a big tent that is quite vast and intimidating and imposing. At the Levi Strauss Foundation, our charge is to take the pioneering spirit of our namesake, Levi Strauss, and the values of the company he created 157 years ago, and to bring these to bear, to push the frontiers of change in communities. We are guided by 4 values, and these are originality, integrity, empathy, and courage. These drive not only how we do business, seeking to clothe the world with iconic products, but equally important, how we also aim to push the frontiers of social change in over 30 countries around the world. In our line of work, you know a pioneering change agent when you see one. That's why I'm thrilled to have this opportunity to introduce 2 rock stars in the field of asset building that the Levi Strauss Foundation has been deeply honored to support. The first is the recipient of the CFED President's Award. Every year, this is awarded to an individual who has demonstrated groundbreaking excellence in the field, and this year's awardee, Peter Nares, couldn't be more deserving. All right. Not yet. Get ready to be roasted a bit, okay? This is about you, okay? I'll give you some additional hors d'oeuvres to go with your meal here. Peter is the founding executive director of the national nonprofit CFED, or Social and Enterprise Development Innovations, in Canada. Are there any Canadian asset builders in the house, or CFED folks? Okay, I can't hear you. All right. Now, the easiest way to describe CFED is that it may be seen as a CFED of Canada. Or excuse me, as a respectful neighbor to the south, let me say that CFED may be seen as the CFED of the United States. So let us shift our gaze northward and allow me to briefly share some of the accomplishments of CFED. And after that, a few of the signature traits of Peter Nares that have allowed him to leave an indelible mark in this incredible body of work. First, Peter and CFED are a global pioneer in regard to this whole notion of financial capability. Yes, it sounds wonky, but the idea, the pivot point from financial literacy to financial capability is something that Peter was at the forefront of. In a nutshell, it doesn't suffice merely to develop and roll out curricula on financial literacy. We must go further. To work with low-income people on the use of the right financial tools is another critical linchpin to secure their capacity to plan their financial futures. CFED has received international acclaim for its ambitions to take this idea to scale through the Canadian Centre for Financial Literacy. It partners with business, government, and communities across Canada, and its aim is big, to increase the financial capability of over 230,000 low-income Canadians by 2013. And by my back-of-the-envelope calculations, that's about 5% of the working poor population in Canada. One organization. Another milestone. CFED developed the Independent Living Account Program. It targets residents of 8 shelters in the Toronto area who receive financial capability training, a bank account, and a matched savings incentive for every dollar they put aside. In its first year of operation alone, $2.19 of return were calculated for each $1 of program investment. It's remarkable. The Independent Living Account powerfully demonstrates that shelter residents can leverage savings toward the pathway to independent living. Isn't that remarkable? Finally, drum roll, CFED recently wrapped up LearnSave. It is a 9-year demonstration of IDAs, individual development accounts, in 7 provinces throughout Canada. And here's a little nugget of trivia. With 3,600 low-income earners in this pilot program, LearnSave is the largest research demonstration of asset building in the world to date. And by comparison, isn't that something? I didn't believe it, so I had to go look on Wikipedia. And by comparison, the American Dream demonstration, the previous title holder, from 1997 to 2002, seeded 2,377 accounts, as opposed to 3,600. It's a title that we're probably proud to be relinquishing. The findings of this 9-year demonstration will be formally released next month. But allow me to drop a little news cupcake, if I will. Among LearnSave participants, get your pens out, okay? Access to match savings, opportunities, and financial literacy were shown to increase uptake in post-secondary education by almost 20%. Pretty nice cupcake, yeah? In addition, Peter Nares, along with Bob Friedman of CFED, are the founders of the first ever global network of asset building practitioners, the Global Assets Action Network, called GAIN. The Levi Strauss Foundation has been very proud to support this. And just 2 days ago, in the vast halls of this very conference center, GAIN had its inaugural meeting with over 30 participants pushing the international frontiers of asset building in attendance from North and South America, from Africa, Australia, Asia, and Europe. Indeed, there are thousands of flowers blooming around the world in the assets movement, and the connective tissue is there to be built. And that's what GAIN's purpose is, and we look forward to seeing more from GAIN. Now, in the eyes of his peers and staff, Peter Nares is a highly respected, admired, and visionary leader. Allow me to highlight 4 of the signature characteristics that people who work with him single out. 1, Peter is in it for the long haul. His founding of SETI in 1986 is just one reflection of this. Yesterday at the cocktail reception in this room, he shared with me an insight that, in my view, speaks volumes about Peter Nares. I embrace a change horizon of no less than 20 years. All right? Certainly, this sets him apart from people who get rattled or impatient if outcomes aren't achieved in 1 to 3 years. Secondly, Peter models respect while working with partners from every province in Canada. One local partner, Louise from Winnipeg, and for reference, that's due north of my hometown of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, in the state of Manitoba, spoke very movingly about how Peter went the extra mile, or kilometer, doing the heavy lifting alongside their local program efforts. He did the policy work on top of it. He garnered funding for their efforts, and he helped them build the case. He also offered solace and encouragement when they were sometimes on the verge of giving up. 3, working across sectors and across boundaries has been a linchpin of SETI's success. And Peter is masterful, even artistic if you ask others, at working with all levels. Policymakers, politicians, senior bureaucrats, business leaders, nonprofit professionals. And vis-a-vis people on the ground, he brings empathy to the table and an ability to translate their message to all audiences with deftness and passion. And number 4, but not last, Peter is tenacious. I don't really understand why he's retiring in November. It's a little hard to fathom. And when you hear him in his keynote address tomorrow, you'll get it. But in the adoring words of a partner, quote, like a dog to a bone, Peter is tenacious. He possesses an uncanny ability to read the political moment and recognize political openings. In the words of a SETI colleague, Barb, let me quote you, he can look into the future and mold it in a way that supports low-income and vulnerable Canadians. And that, in a nutshell, she incisively points out, is his legacy. So on behalf of CFED, please join me in warmly congratulating a true pioneer, Peter Nares, the 2010 recipient of the President's Award.
Just very quickly, I have never received an award ever for anything before, so this is awesome. Thank you. As you all know, no one ever does anything worthwhile by themselves, and I sure haven't. And so I just want to take a second to thank my colleagues at SETI. I've got, what CNN say, the best political team on TV. I've got the best asset building team in the world. Thank you. And I also want to thank three people in particular, as Fred said earlier, referring to Michael and his intellectual contribution. I have virtually no intellectual capital to offer the field, so it's been very important for me to align myself with people who do. And I couldn't have picked three better people to do that with. And I'd like to thank Bob Friedman, Michael Sheridan, and Ray Bushera, who went beyond the call for us. They've come up to Canada, they've spoken to groups, that they've just been wonderfully supportive for our work, and I don't think we would have achieved what we've achieved without them. So thanks to you three especially, and thanks to all of you. I've been coming to these events, I think I've only missed one since the beginning, and I've always felt incredibly welcome by you all, and we've learned an enormous amount from America. We're different, we're Canada, but we've learned a lot from all of you. So thank you very much.